Hi, it's Jonathan Herbst, founder and CEO of Scale Up Growth. Welcome to my Business Focus series where I chat with owners, managing directors, founders, and business leaders of scaling companies. It centers around their entrepreneurial journey so far and their aspirations for their companies. Today I'm speaking to Dean Sammut, who's founder of Acanthis. Is that the right pronunciation there?
Yes, it is.
Great. So I'm apologising to everybody. I've got COVID still, so if I'm coughing a bit, I do apologise. So I'm going to throw it to you, Dean, and let you do all the talking. So tell me, Acanthis, what does it do? How long have you been doing it? And where's your focus?
Yeah, so business owners often feel lost when trying to improve their business, and this is because their data is in many places and they don't have the time, knowledge, or expertise to analyze their data. So Acanthis gives business owners consolidated visibility over their financial and non-financial data, and it allows them to remain focused on the parts of their business that really matter. So about 2 years ago, I decided to kind of embark on this journey to help SMBs globally solve these business problems. Working as a chartered accountant for the last decade, I realized there was a bit of a gap in the market where there were a whole bunch of these SMB owners that really needed hand-holding advice, but couldn't really afford to pay for the services. And with the advancement of AI, I realized it actually is now possible to provide these services affordably and at scale.
Right. So how?
So what we do, we consolidate financial and non-financial data of a business. So if you're an e-com business, for example, that could be consolidating Shopify and behavioral data that we can access from Shopify, along with your financial data. We can pull in information from Xero, MailChimp, and we provide a consolidated dashboard for the SMB, looking at the 11 most important metrics for that industry. Then what we do behind the scenes, we analyze that data and we provide the business owner with insights over those different metrics and recommendations as to how they can improve those metrics. We've also got a business valuation tool that's running in the background, and that allows the business owner to track the value of their business over time. So the different strategies that they adopt, they can actually see what impact that has on the valuation of their business.
Fabulous. Wish I talked to you yesterday. Here is what I don't think you can't say. I've been building dashboards.
Oh, we can do one for you.
So let's, if you don't mind, it's an area obviously that is close to my heart. How do you do it? So you're using AI, I assume, to consolidate the data.
Yeah, so we connect to data via different APIs of the different cloud applications, depending on the industry.
Okay,
and
let me just stop you there for a moment. For all of those technological numbnuts out there like me,
yeah,
an API, as I've just realized recently, is essentially a piece of a password, for one of the to really simplify it. That you could, like, for instance, yesterday I was connecting an API between my people were connecting an API between my CRM being Active Campaign and a score a survey tool I use called Score App, and it literally is paste a code into a box in the two programs. That's it.
Yep, that's right. So
I'm trying to dumb it down because if knowing my clients, and I apologize to every one of you right now who are listening. Technologically, to understand how simple this is important.
Yeah, so basically you can think of it as, the old method of communicating through two cups tied to a piece of string, and you can talk through one cup and hear from the other. That's essentially what we're doing with an API, and we're basically feeding information from one application into our application. So we're at the moment just pulling in data from different applications, and then what we do, we transform that data and give the user something that they can understand, which will allow them to make better decisions.
So and once again, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's so important that, and that is just shows you. Bear with me. Sorry, I do apologize. And so, one of the things I do with my clients,
Yep.
we get them to build dashboards, and I get them to do them as simply as possible. The top 3 lines here and the 3 North Star metrics. We've got sales dashboard. Notice the red, yellow, green, etc. for every period. Very visual, but this is all manual.
Yeah.
I'm assuming what you're saying is you will actually drag the information out of the different programs our clients use and populate this for them.
Yep, exactly right. So with most SMBs, they wouldn't have a clue as to what metrics they should be looking at, and particularly as you would know, and particularly ones that might improve their business value or their profitability. So it's very different for every industry. And what we do, we automatically generate a dashboard based on their industry, and it's all predefined. They don't really have to give it much thought. And once they've connected their data, we bring all that information into the Acanthis application, and then it allows them to get value on day one.
Right. Now, you mentioned the metrics. Are they metrics you're using across all industries, or how do the metrics work?
No, they're different for every industry. So, for e-commerce, for example, we're looking at, average order value, conversion rate. We're also looking at, customer acquisition cost, along with a lot of other metrics like cash flow metrics, which, there's different cash flow metrics that aren't applicable for e-commerce because they don't have debtors, for example. So it is very different from every industry.
Okay. And what about from, let's say, a sales perspective? If we talk about leading KPIs versus lagging KPIs, leading the number of calls I make versus lagging the sales I make, do you capture that, or can we add manual lines into the dashboard?
Yeah. So what you can do, so we give each industry 11 basically metrics that we believe are the most important ones that drive specifically profitability and valuation, which are usually tied to EBITDA type scenarios. So, but behind those metrics, it often relies on, it could be sales data, it could be pricing, it could be an issue if it's a margin problem. So our recommendations. So what happens? We give an insight, then we give a user 3 recommendations based on what we're analyzing in their data. So that could be a list of thousands of different recommendations per metric. They can choose to action those recommendations, and what we're trying to create eventually is a collaboration between an advisor. So if it's a marketing problem that they're trying to fix, creating a tool that can collaborate with a marketing agency to fix that particular metric. So one of the really cool things we found when we were beta testing is we had a heat map running for a delivery business, and we actually we worked out that there was a patch in the middle of Sydney that this business wasn't delivering to, and you could see it clear as day when you saw it on a heat map, that there was a big patch in the middle of Sydney that this business wasn't delivering to. So it allowed the business owner to get that instant visibility over that, which he actually wasn't aware of. And now he's run a targeting marketing campaign for those specific suburbs in Sydney.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long have you been doing it?
So I've been operating as a chartered accountant, a partner in an accounting firm for, I've been an accountant my whole career. 2 years ago, I kind of set out on this in this journey. So we went through an accelerator program called Antler in May of last year, and they decided to invest in our application, and we got some pre-seed funding in August, and my co-founder and CTO Troy Haddon, he's really the Steve Wozniak of the business. He's really a really smart guy, and really gets the problem, which is very important for any co-founder, obviously. But it's very rare to find that in a technical co-founder that understands the importance of data analytics. And he came and joined up to help solve this problem in May of last year, and we've been building this product ever since. So we're just starting to onboard customers right now. So it's a very exciting time.
So I'm going to explore. Sorry, Dan, you've hit me in a well and truly one of my inquisitive moments. But one of the really interesting things about founder dynamics that I've found is the value, as you've just highlighted, of the co-founder.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people go out there and, founded by themselves, or they've got a minority, shareholder, 5% or something, the CTO. As founders, being there, done that, you hit troughs, you hit walls, you hit valleys of death, as I call it. And having a co-founder whose energy levels, will be at different levels to you at different times, and has different skill sets. In your case, CTO, it's extraordinarily valuable. And I don't think a lot of people go out and we want to build this company by ourselves, but the consideration of a co-founder is something I'd highly recommend.
Yeah, and one of the really cool things about the Antler program is that's what they try to do. They try to help you build the team. And there's a tool that they run called Fingerprint for Success, and it's basically psychometric testing that it helps you understand whether you'll be a long-term match. And fortunately, I was able to find Troy quite early on my journey, and I actually wasn't initially considering bringing on a co-founder. I was considering just building the software team myself. However, what I found was every software engineer that I interviewed just did not get the problem. And when I actually met Troy, he came from a patient flow data analytics business himself that he co-founded for the health industry, and he understood as well, by building a business himself, the struggles and pains that business owners suffer really along their journey. So it was really I was really fortunate to find someone so alike.
Yeah, it's a really interesting lesson when you're founding and considering. And I see my client base is a bit sort of next step on from where Antler is, and one of the key one of the key or the most important things that I coach is, number one, how do we get the culture right? But number two, how do we get the right people on the bus doing the right things? Okay. Moving on a bit. So your core customer, how would you describe your best ideal customer?
So our ideal customer is someone that is currently using cloud applications like Xero, Shopify, really any cloud application we can connect our API to, and that. But really, the busy small business owner that wants to improve their business. That's really our ideal customer.
Yeah, so small business owner, define. Is it number of staff, revenue?
Not necessarily. So we've got people on our wait list that their turnover would be 10 million plus. So some of these, and I wouldn't by all means say that's a small business, but more an SMB. But these type of business owners really don't feel like they've got that complete visibility at a snapshot, and even for a larger business, it will help them get that visibility and confidence over how their business is tracking.
I would think that that your definition, like any client that I take on, doesn't have full visibility of it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the times they come to me because really, the DIY seat of the pants, reading books has just stopped. They can't grow any further.
Yeah.
And so my clients they range from about $1 million up to about $50 million in revenue, which equates to about, and it's an interesting one for your marketing, it equates from about 10 through to 100 staff. Is the number of FTEs that equate to that revenue. So when you're doing I'm assuming you do some marketing through LinkedIn at some stage. To equate the revenue, look at the number of staff, because that's where the complexity comes in. That's sort of where you work it out. So 10 to 100 staff is probably where your sweet
Sweet
spot.
spot.
And in my experience, not over 8 years coaching and being the CEO multiple times before that, it is very, very rare that any company has working dashboards that they can make real management decisions on. And the fact that you're giving an idea of valuation, so I think I picked that up on the way through, is hugely powerful.
Yeah.
People come to me because they're looking to build a finished business, and profitable, self-managing, that they don't have to work in themselves if they choose, so they can take a holiday. And I've got clients who are $25 million revenue businesses who are not even close to that.
Yeah. And it's one of the lessons I learned as a business advisor, as a chartered accountant. So, we were doing valuation gap analysis for clients that wanted to exit in, say, 3 to 5 years. But one of the things I learned was, well, why wouldn't just the business owner that's not looking to exit want to know what their business is worth at any point of time? So, and it's something that is probably overlooked. The only time people get a business valuation done is, if they're selling, or if they're thinking of selling, or they're looking to buy a business. So, I thought there's no reason, like, we build in the algorithm into the application. We've got access to their data. There's no reason that we can't actually offer that on an ongoing basis. And I did start to do this through Power BI as a consulting service through the accounting firm, and but it was just very expensive for me to deliver it. So that was one of the main kind of, I call it like a good tracker of the business. So it's just one of those lessons that I learned along the way, I suppose.
Yeah, it's amazing what, in my experience, how few companies and founders have learnt that lesson. They get to the stage where there's a lot of them getting to that stage now. The baby boomers who are looking to retire, and they don't have succession plan. They're looking to sell, and ex-accountants like you, chartered accountants, are spending all their time unraveling all the mistakes they've made in the books over the years. Financing private lifestyles, etc., which, all that stuff needs to be unraveled to get the right valuation. And it's, frankly, it's quite easy, because, to have an indication of that all the way through. And you never know what's going to happen as a business owner. All my clients are private companies out, but now you could get sick, get cancer. I've had COVID for last week. All of these things. And if you're prepared, it gives you the ability to make decisions.
That's right.
Yeah, yep. Absolutely. And, jump in the stuff I throw in there as well, which is, help building a leadership team and self-managing business, etc. Preparing yourself for all eventualities. And more importantly, you're going to get a much higher earnings, valuation on the business if you focus. So, Dan, I'm sorry, you haven't been on one of these before. I'm actually spending a lot more time talking to you than normal, because what you're doing, I think, is so powerful. You said that, I'll move on. So, you launched in the pandemic. What did you do, compared to what you used to do, the way you used to work? What lessons have you learned, or what has stayed with the business going forward?
I think with regards to the pandemic, it actually made me realize now more than ever that something like this is needed for the time busy business owner. That's also, they're tightening their belts a bit in times of adversity. So it really made me realize that I need to get this out to customers as soon as possible. And that was one of the main reasons for kind of going down this path. I had many clients that were asking me for some kind of low cost advice model, and it's very difficult to deliver as an advisor. Yeah. So I think one of the main things, if I had to give advice in terms of different things that you should do different around these tough times in the economic climate is just remain flexible. Um, keep focused on your long-term goals, but you need to refine your goals and make little tweaks along the way. But you just need to remain flexible and know that there'll be a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Having a North Star, knowing where you're going, but realizing the journey changes.
Yep.
What does future look like, and what do you see as your main challenges going forward?
So yeah, it's really exciting at the moment. We're starting to kind of really start onboarding our wait lists. So we're going to be focusing that over the next couple of months. Our main challenge is because we're doing this really industry specific. We need to there's a bit of development time in addressing each industry. So the difficulty with us is really prioritizing what industries to roll out in our industry roadmap. So that's going to be our main challenge, I think.
And where have you got to with that?
So at the moment, we're focusing on three main industries, which is the predominance of our wait list, which is e-commerce, construction, and also professional services. These actually make up the most predominant Xero subscriptions anyway. So I think these are the good ones to focus on. But by kind of tweaking what we're doing, and really the time is really the API development time. So it's connecting to the different applications for the different industries rather than the dashboard creation itself. That is actually quite quick for us to change. It's more the API connections and what applications we want to connect to.
Yeah. And I'd assume that the roadblock probably is getting, I'm not going to say a Xero, but where you want to connect you is getting their approval, I would assume.
Yeah, that's right. So Xero is actually a fantastic company to work with. There are other companies that, like we found dealing with a lot of the US tech companies is a lot more difficult, and it might just be because they're larger and they seem to operate a bit differently. But I think Xero's model from day one is to try and make a great product by connecting with different applications, and so their kind of API documentation and development tools is quite good.
So you've been a business owner now for a couple of years. What do you reckon has been your greatest learning?
Look, well, it's going through the startup cycle has been a massive learning curve for me. After advising lots of businesses for over a decade and being a partner in an accounting firm, it's a completely different game. And the challenge for me has been actually managing technical staff that I don't have experience in managing. So managing software developers, and thankfully I have Troy that assists there. But that's been the main challenge for me, and that's something that I had to learn on the fly.
Yeah. If I could turn it around a bit, I talk about who, not how. First who, then how. Getting the right team in place, getting the right who's there, are the critical thing to generate success. And so often, and look at me, I just showed you the dashboard I've been building for my own business. So often, I'm sitting, I keep kicking myself. I'm sitting here building dashboards as an example, whatever it is, where in fact I should be going out and saying, where's my who? Where can I go and find, full-time or an Upwork consultant, whoever it might be, they can do it for me rather than me trying to learn and do it myself.
Yeah.
Manage the who's. But tell me, when you think of the word successful, who comes to mind and why?
Look, I'd have to go with a successful Australian entrepreneur, and that would be Melanie Perkins. I think creating Canva, with Cliff, I think she's done an amazing job, and I've heard her speak a couple of times, and she was very, very resilient, particularly in the early days, with a lot of people didn't believe in her concept, and that gives me a bit of inspiration as well. As a startup, you have to get used to hearing no a lot, and not let that kind of beat you down. So and she's done a fantastic job, and also remaining true to her values, and now she's giving back with the wealth that she's created. She's created a pledge fund, which I just think her core values are really good too.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. Are you a reader? Can you recommend any books, podcasts?
Yep. So for startups in general, there's a really good book called Venture Deals. Be Smarter Than Your Lawyer and Venture Capitalist, which has been very good for me. One of my kind of all-time favorite books is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, and I think that's a very good one for business in general and relationships, and Business Adventures is also another really good one.
Right. Yeah, it's fascinating because we've touched a bit on AI, but fascinating with ChatGPT at the moment. I did a search the other day. I was looking at an acquisition, and so ChatGPT looking at an acquisition in this space in New South Wales, Australia. What legal documents do I need? And the bills. Write me a letter of offer. Write me a proposal. Write me this legal document. And of course, I'm going to go and see lawyers and get them checked off. But that the power of that stuff that is now available, rather than doing a search from Google saying, what documents and who knows what you get where now in ChatGPT, you've got you've probably got 80% of it right up until the last 2 years. And it's fascinating, what you can find by asking the right prompts as well.
Yeah. So generative AI is like fantastic, and there are going to be a lot of challenges dealing with ethics around AI in the future, and we're still as a business community working out what the best way to tackle those things are. But with Acanthis, we've got a built-in ChatGPT chat app where business owners can actually ask questions, and more specific questions about their actual data. So that's something that we've built in, but we're actually using a whole range of, we're part of the Microsoft for Founders Network, and we've got access to all OpenAI's models, not just ChatGPT, but there's a whole range of other models that they use. And but we will be developing our own over time. The good thing about generative AI is that it's great at conversational stuff, but in data analytics, it's not there yet. So it's not a precise thing, and you would know as a user, what it is 80% there, like you said. There's still stuff that you need to check.
But it's not there yet. It's only been going for 4 months. But it's interesting that you already built the API to ChatGPT and the others.
Yeah, so we're using a few different tools to basically create the outcome that we want, and Microsoft has some really cool tools behind the scenes for developers to create machine learning models themselves. And fortunately, we were actually going on this path with Microsoft. When you start developing, you usually either go the Microsoft route or the Amazon route, and we've gone down that Microsoft route, and that's allowed us to really capitalize a lot on the OpenAI integrations, and for very low cost for us. But where our kind of core value is really through our own machine learning and AI tools. Yeah.
So the last question, any last piece of advice or parting words from entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs out there?
Yeah, so I think the next year will be tough for aspiring entrepreneurs. Getting funding is now harder than it always was, but it's important to kind of be resilient, remain flexible, and just keep working along towards your long-term goals.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jonathan.
I'm very excited. I really look forward to seeing your success, because it's yeah, like you can hear from the conversation I was having with you. It really is what you're doing is so important.
Thanks. Yeah, yeah, no, it definitely is. And yeah, we're really, really excited just to get the product out there and into the hands of the business owners.
Looking forward to seeing it.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Right. Take care.
Okay, bye.